Sansa Stark, played by Sophie Turner, hasn't had the best luck with the men she's ended up with on Game of Thrones. However, there's a new fan theory that suggests she could end up marrying a member of the Night's Watch. Yet, it's not just any old guy from the Keepers of the North. The theory puts forward the possibility that Sansa could marry the Lord Commander, Dolorous Ed, Ben Crompton, also known as Edison Tollet. This union would also be a good move politically, since it's looking like Sansa will end up being named as the new Warden of the North. I was watching an episode in Season 6, 4, I believe, where there was a quiet moment at the table when Sansa, Jon, Ed, Brienne, Tormund, etc. are eating, and Ed apologizes for the state of the food, and Sansa smiles and says there are more important things. Reddit user AvergyFish wrote, "We see just the hint of a smile on Ed's face, one of the only times we ever see one." The user then goes on to explain how Sansa has experienced the very worst of mankind and that she should end up being a strong, independent and fearless woman, yet that doesn't mean she can't end up with a nice man such as Ed. He may be a bit rough around the edges, but he's a kind, honest and loyal man, which are few and far between in Game of Thrones. He is Lord Commander now, assuming he lives to the end, which, unfortunately, I'm doubting. It would be a good idea to be friends with the Wardeness of the North, which is where I'm predicting Sansa will end up, they wrote. The Reddit user continued, "The Night's Watch is not supposed to be politically involved, but having the support of a powerful northern family would be useful in supplying men, food, weapons, etc., for the Wall. Even if the humans win against the White Walkers, I'm guessing the Night's Watch will be needing a lot more men by the time this is all over, and they may want to even start manning more castles in case the threat ever comes back. And what better way to build a strong alliance than through a marriage, say, to the Wardeness of the North, and the person who can easily supply you with all of those things." The user added, "A union between the two, therefore, would make sense, and they could be a power couple to be fearful of." However, one big obstacle in the way of this theory is the fact that the men of the Night's Watch aren't allowed to marry. Yet, Average Fish posits that even though this is currently the case, if Jon Snow, Kit Harington, were to succeed and gain the Iron Throne, he'll end up changing a few things, including the vows of celibacy taken by the men in the Night's Watch. If things go how I think they will, with Jon ultimately ending up on the Iron Throne, this theory notwithstanding, I feel like he would allow the Night's Watch, Kingsguard, and Mesters to marry, wrote the user. He continued, "Especially after growing up ostracized as a bastard, more marriage theoretically means there will be less out-of-wedlock children." His own experiences with love, and people like Sam, who are in love but have to hide it because of their vows. This theory does hinge a lot on Jon gaining the Iron Throne, which is by no means a done deal. Jon will have to fend off stiff competition from the likes of Daenerys Targaryen, Emilia Clarke, Cersei Lannister, Lena Headey, and possibly even Gendry, Joe Dempsey. Seasons 1 to 7 are currently streaming on Now TV. Game of Thrones Season 8 will return to HBO and Sky Atlantic in 2019.